You at this HBCU. Now y'all heard what I said about HBCUs. It's all I'm telling you, them HBCUs. When all them people was at Trump office begging for money in the famous HBCU nigga selfie, I lost all respect for all that.
Hello everybody and welcome back to Around the Association. Well, after seemingly like a month of just back and forth and online and protest, seems like Bethune-Cookman has settled on their new head football coach. Now, Raymond Woody, he was a former All-American. He was an outside linebacker for Bethune-Cookman between 1992 and 1995, and he had been an assistant coach for years with Western Kentucky. So he's had, stints with USF, Oregon, Florida State, Florida Atlantic. So he has some coaching pedigree, and he's a part of the alum. So, very, very confident this brother, got a chance to do a good job there. Now, comedian Corey Holcomb, he was, he's still kind of frustrated with the way things with Ed Reed, and he's said he's lost all respect for the HBCUs after seeing how they've treated Hall of Famers, Deion Sanders and then Ed Reed. And he was explaining that to his co-host, that hadn't, kept up quite with what was going on. Take a quick listen here what Corey Holcomb had to say.
Y'all know about my man Ed Reed? Ed Reed is arguably one of the greatest safeties in NFL history. He's not always celebrated on mainstream media because he's a brother. I'm talking about a black man who looks proud to be black and everything. Reed was offered a job at this HBCU named Bethune-Cookman. When he showed up for the job, the office was trashed where he was supposed to work. It was like they had no appreciation for him coming. This is probably the greatest safety in NFL history.
Now, I agree with Corey Holcomb here. This is, Ed Reed, his frustration. Now, we know the video that came out. There's been debate on how he could have handled that one way or the other. But it's my understanding he didn't just stop by. They knew he was coming. They obviously gave him keys, told him where his office was. So they had prepared for him to come that day. It's not like he came early and he just dropped out of the blue. It's like they knew he was coming, gave him the keys. If the office wasn't up to, was still trashed, just from a professionalism standpoint, I would have said, look, your office is not ready, but we're going to take you around to some of the other facilities that are. You know what I'm saying? Something like that. I never understood that, to have someone so accomplished that could bring so much, prestige and potentially donors. Like, I remember Ed Reed talking about he had billionaires that were, and his multi-millionaire friends that were looking to invest to Bethune-Cookman just off the strength of him being there. Which, to be honest with you, Bethune-Cookman really could have used those resources, because last year they were hit with Hurricane Ian, and we put out videos showing where students, if you have it, just do a search on our YouTube channel, where students were actually showing mold in their room, mold on their food. I mean, they actually need probably to have some facilities torn down and rebuilt instead of just throwing paint over or trying to build over. It probably needs to be kind of checked for mold, and if it's too much mold growing, it needs to be destroyed, cleaned up, and then rebuilt. I mean, for the kids, not just the student athletes on the football team, but just for the people on that are the kids that are attending the college. So I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot. I mean, I agree, that wasn't a good look, but what Ed Reed was showing wasn't a good look. I guess his point was, hey, we got to present well. First of all, like, presentation is everything, and if this is the presentation, then we need to. This is bigger than just football. But I mean, you can argue all day with his tactics, but I think that they kind of pulled the trigger a little too soon with moving on from Ed Reed, and I think that was more of a pride thing. They don't want to be called to the carpet, which that's what Corey Holcomb continued to speak on in regards to how big of a missed opportunity this was for Bethune-Cookman. Take a listen here.
You know how hard it is to get in the Hall of Fame? I'm talking about, there's some great players that ain't in the Hall of Fame.
That's true.
I think he first ballot. That means something. He one of the greatest athletes ever. And here you at this little pussy school, you got a chance to have Ed Reed as your football coach. I met Ed Reed on the plane one time. We sat next to each other. We both was talking to each other. I was so shocked he knew me. I was like, man, what up? He was like, you know what I'm saying? It was like one of them kicking moments. He seemed like a good-hearted guy. How you gonna have this man show up at the school
And they didn't get it ready.
and you didn't do shit? You act like you doing him a favor. On Facebook Live, or what is it, Instagram Live or whatever, and he voiced his opinion about how they got me coming up in here. Look at this, man, woo, woo, woo. He was showing it. And Ed Reed, I'm telling you, man, this would have been a win for that punk ass school. Because kids who know about football, they gravitate toward the greats like that.
Well, there you have it. We'll get a chance to see what the coach does, but I actually agree with Corey. If they would have been able to bring in a Hall of Fame former football player, the type of players that he would have been able to bring on, the type of coaches he would have been able to bring around, and the attention. See, that's the thing. It's one thing to be great, but if you don't have the right kind of eyes on you, you don't have the right kind of resources that can be pulled there. It's like you're being great in the dark. You know what I'm saying? And not that they can't make it out. Obviously, a lot of Bethune-Cookman has put some really good pros in the NFL, but you can get even more eyes on the program. You could have had even more eyes on the program had you worked something out with Ed Reed, and kind of said, look, this is not how we're going to handle it moving forward. But I think they got embarrassed that Ed Reed put them on Front Street, and that's what it all comes down to. Let me know what you guys think, man. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll be forward to looking and reading the comments on how you feel about Corey Holcomb's take in regards to this whole situation and HBCUs at large. I'm going to holler at you next time. Peace.